What's up, guys?
You ready?
Yeah, we're live.
Let's go for
So yeah, Matt and Jeff sitting here with me from LOKI Events. We're going to talk about Missouri Enduro Series today. That's going to start here in about a month. It's what, a 5-part series?
4.
4. Okay,
Yes.
so 4 parts this year. Really cool, super fun party events. Really nice racing. You guys come up with some pretty insane courses for all of these. We are in Missouri, but it is not flat farmland. This is gnarly, rocky, super fun terrain. You know, that's kind of my favorite part about the events is just the excitement and fun that everybody has. So just real quick, what are the kind of upcoming dates for the races and all that good stuff?
The first race for the Missouri Enduro Series is the Greensfelder Enduro, which is March 27th. And then we will move into April 10th for the Chubb Enduro. And then May 14th is the BME Shepherd Mountain Enduro down in Ironton.
That's a 2-day.
And that is a 2-day with 2 days of practice. And then also the last race to wrap up the series will be the St. Gnarls out in St. Charles at Klondike and Matson.
Nice.
With another urban stage to feature the end of the race series.
Nice. So people are wanting to come and do the races. The first 2, Greensfelder and Chubb, are here in West St. Louis. So kind of Eureka, Baldwin, Wildwood area. If people are looking for what that location is going to be, they can look for Six Flags St. Louis. Greensfelder is touching Greensfelder. You'll hear people yelling and screaming on roller coasters if the park's open by then. And then Chubb is just the next exit down the highway. So as far as lodging and stuff goes, just look for Six Flags St. Louis. Plenty of awesome stuff here. Camping. Are you guys doing that again?
Yes.
Camping involved with the events?
There's all that information is up on LOKIEvents.com. They can go there, and everything is up there as far as information about all 3 of the races that Missouri Enduro Series puts on.
Sweet. So in these races, essentially, you know, 5-6 stages on most of them.
Well,
or is it bumped up
Really
this year?
bumped them up.
We have bumped them up because of our awesome my awesome course director here, Mr. Jeff Powell. We just announced the other day for Greensville Enduro there will be 8 stages.
Wow.
For the Greensville Enduro.
Now, is that going to be based from the park, or is it going to be down at Wyman again?
It will be based out of Camp Wyman.
Cool.
And there will be 2 stages coming back into Camp Wyman, and 4 stages will be that you've never raced before as of last year.
Very nice. And how many miles is the Greensfelder Enduro?
17 miles.
Wow.
17 miles. So
Roughly 17.
Roughly
Nice.
17 miles.
And that includes transitions and all that
Yes,
stuff. Yeah.
the whole course.
Nice.
Transitions and the race stages will be 17 miles with about 2,400 feet of descent.
So how long does somebody have to finish that?
I'm going to let Jeff.
The average time is about 3 hours for most people, 3 to
Okay.
4 hours. You get your fast guys out there. If they just stay on course on test, they'll do it in about 2.5.
Nice.
If they want to, but that depends on mechanicals, weather, kind of climber you are.
Okay.
There's so many variations in there to get you around all the way. You may be a good descender, but climbing may take you a long time, so the time variations are going to be a lot different.
So people should anticipate maybe 3 to 4 hours
for
as
sure.
far
Yeah,
as
3,
doing
yeah.
that race.
Yeah.
How long? What's the maximum amount of time that they have to finish it?
They have 5 hours.
5 hours total.
5 hours to do all 8
Okay.
stages.
And the fastest guys may come in around 2 hours or so.
2.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did it. I ride the whole course for practice,
Mhm.
just to get these numbers. And me moving at just an average pace took me 2 hours and 40 minutes to do the whole thing. But that's without having to wait in line either. There's no. I get there, I just go, so I don't have to wait for the people in front of me. I'm not waiting every 30 seconds. So
Right.
that's
Well,
where we come up with that.
I definitely want to dig into what these courses are going to look like a little bit, or kind of what the thought process is that goes into them. But just to kind of like quickly round out everything, you know, the Greensfelder Enduro is here in March, right? So, and then May is
April is
Chubb.
Chubb.
Chubb's here, super gnarly course as well.
Mhm.
Same, everything kind of dumps out down at the bottom, or the party hubs down there. There's
Right.
lunch you guys provide, all that good stuff. It is a really cool atmosphere at both Wyman and at West Tyson at the Chubb Enduro. So,
Right.
you know, you can bring your kids, bring your spouse, whatever it may be. It's just kind of a fun party all weekend.
Yes.
So really dig that. It's super fun. And then BME, or the Big Mountain Enduro down at Ironton.
That's in May 15th,
Okay.
14th, and 15th, 2 days.
And that, can people still get linked through that if they go to LOKI Events, or do they need to go to BME site for that one?
It is linked to
They can find a link on it.
the site, but I think, are they?
Let me jump in real quick. I can tell
Yeah.
you that they're about to be sold out.
Okay.
Yes,
They are real
that's
close.
why I was
Last
giving
week,
it an answer.
numbers are real close to being sold out. So anybody who's watching, if they want to get in, they need to go to the BME website
Immediately.
and get registered, because it's about to be done. Because 5 out of their events, 3 of them sold out right away, and I think it's Bryan Head and Missouri had not sold out, but they're up into the 90% plus range right now.
Sweet. And it's a fun thing if you
Yeah,
are
a lot of
local
fun.
to go and watch the race too and get involved for those few days. The town of Ironton always gets super stoked, it seems, when people come to town. They had a kid, they had like a whole party last year, and the whole town came out. They had a concert stage there. One of the kids from the local high school was singing Eminem, Lose Yourself. It was awesome. He did great. It was a ton of fun. But yeah, it was really cool. And then the St. Arles Enduro, I wasn't able to make it, but from what I hear, that was amazing too. You have an urban
It was the party of the
stage
year.
involved.
That was awesome.
There's all kinds of stuff.
There's all kinds. I mean, trying to pull it together in a short amount of time that we did, I was even skeptical if it would even happen. But then being able to even throw in an urban stage on top of that, which has never been done here in Missouri, or for that matter, not very many places in the United States anyway. That was totally cool and epic for us to be able to do it. The weather cooperated tremendously. I couldn't believe that. And then with the mileage that we came up with, of having to do a transfer stage on the Katy Trail was just not working for the numbers of making everyone ride their mountain bikes. And then I came up of self-shuttling everyone.
Right.
They just self-shuttle to, because it's at pretty much 3 different locations. You got Matson first, and then you go to Klondike, and then you got to go over to Good News Brewery in Augusta. Right. So it worked out really well, and people were able to refuel themselves with food and drink, and then do any maintenance on their bike as if needed. You know,
it was very popular, and Chris Kaplinger was he was the brainchild behind all that.
The bike club guys, all the Chris's and everybody else that was part of the bike club guys, that was huge right there. Those guys jumped right in and wanted to be a part of it. And matter of fact, they're the ones who came to me about wanting to do a race out there, and I had I still think a lot of people didn't realize the elevation that was out at Klondike and Matson, and it was so gnarly. So.
The last time I rode at Klondike, I did 2.5 miles, and like we rode for a while, and Mark took me around to show me some of the new, like, because he's got trails he cut through, like just like it looks like he cut through boulders to like blaze single track, and he just kind of showed me around everything. We get back, I was like, geez, I was like, how far did we go? He was like, we went 2.5 miles. I was like, what?
You thought Chubb was a slow ride. They're not going very far in 2 hours. Like just as much.
Oh, yeah, dude. And I think that's like the cool thing about the Missouri Enduro Series, and what's so exciting about it, especially for racing in Missouri, is, you know, or people coming from, you know, whether you're coming, I mean, we had people, from Michigan that were coming to town.
Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, a couple from Arkansas. So yeah, we had a large variety, and Kansas too on top of that.
And then BME, of course, even drew people from even more states around and stuff. But I think that's like the cool thing is, you know, especially if you're in the Midwest, the events you guys put on are very unique. The trails are awesome. So, you know, I think that maybe if you've never been to Missouri or this part of Missouri, we're in the Ozarks. This is the beginning of the Ozarks here. There is some really fun stuff to ride. It's no joke. But then it's the whole atmosphere, and I think you guys do a really good job. I always find it funny whenever I like make videos and you're around, Matt. Like, you know, I put in like the GoPro quick app that like edit it for me, and every once in a while it'll pull out voices. I cannot have Matt in any single recording without GoPro saying we got to put him in the video. And it's always some like weird random yelling thing. But you do. I mean, I think you do a really good job that when people show up to that event, everybody feels super welcome. You don't feel like you're like, especially if you're from out of town, like you feel like everybody might know each other and stuff. Everybody does know each other, but at the same time, everybody's going to be super friendly to you and you're going to make a bunch of new friends. So even if you're just driving up alone, you can't talk anybody into coming to race with you. You'll make friends here and everybody's super cool.
Very, very fast. That's one thing I do pride myself about is like, hey, if I don't know you, come up and introduce yourself and let's be friends, especially if you ride a bike or bicycle, definitely for sure. And I try to make a really good atmosphere for everybody to make them feel like they're welcome and want to be there and want to be a part of that.
And that's typical of our area around here. People will get on Facebook and say, hey, what's going on? Hey, I'm heading into town, and ask for suggestions. And somebody in the community typically replies, hey, here's where you should stay. Or, hey, come with me. We got a campsite. Come join us if you're coming in solo. People are very inviting. That's just all of us, our community around here. We do that on our own. So
that was funny. I was like, I need to start like a Facebook group page that's just like ride buddies or whatever, to where people would go in there and it's only posts allowed, or if you're like looking for somebody to like show you a new park or go and do something. But
or call Steve Friedman.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Steve will take anybody anywhere. It's true.
He'll find you somebody.
But and I mean, I think that's a Missouri thing too, is people in Missouri are very friendly. Like, and it's not just the mountain bikers. Like once if you're not from Missouri and you come into town, like people will nod at you if you drive by them on the street, like people are waving to you. Like it is a town, or it is a state where people are going to make you feel welcome. Like you're never really going to feel out of place in St. Louis, Just stay out of downtown. Stay wherever the mountain bike trails are.
There's been people reach out to me about, hey, I'm coming in from out of town and I really don't know the park that well. I've never ridden there before. I was like, dude, if you're here at this time, I will find somebody there for you to go out with and ride with. And next thing you know, those guys or group is just having a blast and having a good, dude, thanks so much for introducing us. And they knew every nook and cranny of the trail or whatever it may be. So,
is Trail Labs planning on being at the race events this year again?
They're going to be every one of them. They're going to be all four of them.
Cool. Yeah. So that's really cool too. If you do come and race, Trail Labs are a really cool company out of Springfield, Missouri. They will kind of help make sure your bike's set up right, take a look at things, and talk to you about it. So that's pretty valuable to have their expertise there. So really awesome kind of perk. And then of course, chops are there and all kinds of fun stuff going on. So I think, that kind of, I wanted to give everybody an idea maybe that we're out of town, kind of what to expect with that. I think that kind of sums it up. People can go on YouTube, search Chubb Enduro, Greensfelder Enduro, go on the Facebook page, you post videos.
Right, I think, go on to STL Enduro and ask, hey, I'm coming into town. That's the best way, and there'll be you'll get a really quick response on that.
Where did people stay when they were for the St. Charles? Like, did you guys have anything worked out with St. Charles County Parks for the St. Charles Enduro?
Yes, some people stayed at Airbnbs in the surrounding area of Madison and Augusta and Defiance, and then also the Klondike has camping at Klondike. So a lot of people, they even have cabins there at Klondike, so you can do a campsite or a cabin also. If you reserve it soon enough.
Right, and they would reserve those through St. Charles County Parks. So St. Charles County Parks website, Missouri.
And that's the same way, except for Chubb. Chubb goes through me, and that's on to reserve a campsite at Chubb. You just go on to the bike rig page for Chubb, and it's only like $10 for a campsite there. And then Greensfelder, you can camp out at the Greensfelder Park, but you got to go through St. Charles.
St. Louis County Park.
St. Louis County, sorry.
Both Chubb and Greensfelder at St. Louis County Park. So basically, if you want to camp if you want to camp, you can contact St. Charles County Parks. There's Klondike there. They have shower houses and everything. Yes, Klondike is my favorite camping and cabin place. They even have a kitchenette in there. Yep. And then Greensfelder is just camping spots, or they have RVs and stuff.
They do have a shower.
And there is shower,
parking lot. There's showers up
Not
there.
as nice though.
Camp Wyman I think he had the shower house open for us
He
last
did
year.
have the shower
Oh,
house
cool.
open
Yeah.
for us if
Very
somebody wanted
cool.
to come down there and take showers. But do remember that we did had to have the gates locked at night at a certain time
Right.
before the next morning. So,
Yep. And then here in Eureka, we also have like a KOA St.
Yes.
Louis or Six Flags.
Yeah.
Again, just look up Six Flags for lodging.
There you go.
But what I think is more cool, and for kind of local people who have been to the race, I mean, we see these events, and you're always running around like crazy. Jeff as well, and you guys have a whole team of people. I mean, how many people does it take to put on like one race? Would you say like actual race day?
I would say actual race day takes up to 12 to 15 people.
Right.
Because you need somebody for every little thing. One sweeping the course, one taking the ribbon down because of all the ribbon we use.
Right.
And then just leading up to that, you almost need an army of 10 just to mark the course itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then, aren't perfect at it. We still miss something.
So Greensfelder is coming up first. So maybe we should dial in on Greensfelder a little bit, and because that's what I think people are going to get kind of hype about first. And then maybe you guys can come back and talk to me about Chubb before the Chubb Enduro too.
Sure.
But so like, what goes into like, how do you figure what sections of Greensfelder you're going to take? Because Greensfelder has about 26, 27 miles of trail overall out there. It's one of the favorite mountain bike trails in St. Louis for people to ride. It's been around for a long time. They're constantly working on it and adding new trail out there. There's a work day this weekend on Saturday. If people are interested to bring dogwood back, because that's kind of gone to the wayside over the last few years. So that would be cool. A bunch of people showed up for that on Saturday, March 5th, 9 a.m. and did that. But how do you guys, I mean, where do you even start when you get to Greensfelder on what you want to do, or what do you guys even think about?
I'm going to hand this over to Jeff because he is my course director. And then he's the one who has the mastermind or the master map of all the courses or stages that we want to race. And then, of course, I think since we started Greensville for this year, we've changed it probably 7 times now.
Could be. It
Yeah,
drives
I
me
think around
nuts.
7 times we've changed it because I will go out there and I said, dude, I found something and we got to put this in, and we change it. So, or we'll say it's going to work and then all of a sudden it doesn't work into it. But then he's even got stuff that's kept in his back pocket for future events out there at Greensfelder. So I'll hand this to Jeff. He's the mastermind behind the course.
I like to ride out there a lot.
Yes.
So I ride everything, and I find a lot of the old trails too.
Okay.
There's a lot of it. I've been going out there for, I couldn't tell you how many years, 30 years. So I find these extra trails too, use those when I can, and find these different stages. I map them out. I see how long they are, elevation, and I write it all down. I've got a list of probably 20 different stages I can use. Not all are all good enduro stages, so I have to put some to the side and then ride them out and see what works the best. And I'm always trying to come up with something new. Like you said, we've got 4 new ones this year. We'll use 4 from last year and 4 new ones for this year. And if we get to come back again next year, we'll have more new stages. So I look for different and unique lines that are out there. Some things that we get to create, and then we have to cover them back up. It's not everything we do is going to be part of the park forever. So we use it and we put it back, and you can't go find where we were after that, which is
the only way you can race that stage or that section of trail that we made is at our race, and that's it. Once we're done, like he says, we blow it back up and cover it up with leaves and sticks where you can't even see it.
Well, and it's kind of cool. So if they raced last year, took part of the Missouri Enduro Series, like you said, there's going to be 4 stages kind of carry over. So there is a little bit of advantage there. So it's a good reason to do the series every year and to keep coming back. But you also have 4 different ones. So if you are doing the race for the first time, it's not like just because guys were there the year before, they're going to have some crazy advantage over you.
For sure. And that's when I set these races up, that's what I'm always doing. I'm looking to make sure that the locals don't have all the privileges. I go down to Arkansas and I do my race. I go down there as a racer to race, and that's what they do. And I really like that. I've been out for the races for BME, worked a couple of their races. It's the same thing. You want to make sure it's something fresh when they come. You don't want the locals to be bored. Oh, I do this all the time. So we throw a wrinkle in there. That's what I'm always looking for, is the wrinkle, or taking away their favorite line.
Right.
I'll do that on purpose. Like, oh, this is where everybody thinks they're going to go. Not this year. I'm going to make sure they got to go a different direction. We look for different features, different rocks, something that we can mix it up or throw a kink into the stage and change it up. And what's good about this year, we actually have a system in place where we're doing Greensfelder first. It's a really good entry level enduro race for anybody that wants to try it. They've heard about it. People are getting excited about it. You know, we have a new youth team that's going to be out there this year, and we want everybody to be able to come and do an enduro race and finish and be happy. But we also know that Greensfelder, if high speed, if you're really fast, well, that's going to challenge our top racers also. So if you want that, it's going to be plenty of that there for them. So we got both ends of the spectrum for that. And you go to Chubb, it's a little nastier. It's a little steeper. It's definitely a lot more rocky there. We got a really cool couple new surprises for Chubb this year. Got to throw Dave Elkin in here.
Yeah.
He's our little guru when it comes to this kind of stuff too. He sees things and we dial it in. So we got Chubb. So then you go to Ironton for those.
And that's Dave Elkin from Big Mountain Enduro.
Correct. Yep.
So plenty of big mountain experience on laying out courses and stuff. So he definitely has his hands in all this as well.
For years, and then they come in and.
Well, let's come back to Dave. We'll throw him
Yeah.
in when we talk about Chubb. That's where he really needs to be talked about. Is when we talk about Chubb right here.
Cool.
So just real quick, I do want to bring out that now, anytime a course or a map is handed over to me, there's a saying at the bottom says Elkin Powell signature.
No,
course.
Powell Elkin.
Oh, Powell
Elkin.
Powell Elkin signature course.
I live here all the year. He hasn't lived here.
It yet. It is not a signature course until I've written it and proved it and put my stamp on it.
Yeah, so a thing that used to always happen back in the day, and I actually still get posters mailed to me. We need like a poster, like the Greensfelder and the Chubb Enduro collector posters to hang up at shop, so we can
can work on it. We did the first year, the first Chubb we did. We had a poster put up out there.
Yeah, we did.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, real quick, back to that. So it goes Greensfelder, Chubb gets harder, Ironton is ridiculous. You better have a really quality bike and have it dialed in for that. And then the end of the series, St. Niles, party on wheels. It is so much fun. You get everything where you got to pedal your butt off to some really nasty, steep stuff where people are like, I can't do that.
Right.
And that's when he came up with the beginner course, which worked out really awesome over at Matson. So that's kind of, we wanted to progress this year.
Right.
Yeah, because
we're going to work themselves into it.
We normally do Chubb first, but we wanted to get people introduced to the enduro scene if they so choose to want to get into it at Greensfelder first, and then kind of graduate to Chubb.
And that's a 17-mile race over 3 to 4 hours. Maybe you have up till 5. And then what's the elevation? Do you know offhand?
But climbing
Yeah.
at Greensville is about 2,400, and I honestly don't remember what Chubb was. They're real similar, but it's just a shorter distance because it's just you gain elevation so much faster at Chubb.
Last year, Chubb was like 1,700 or 1,900.
I don't remember. I haven't been looking at that map recently. I've been working on the Ironton map too, so I got a lot of head numbers.
So yeah, I mean it's no joke. I think Chubb overall is maybe what. Like from the highest to lowest point, like 280 or 300 feet, maybe something like that.
Yep.
So yeah, plenty of elevation changes and big, huge limestone rocks and all kinds of good stuff. So yeah, I'm super stoked on all that. And I think it's good, like you said, especially with Greensfelder getting added in. I mean, there's, I know last year, 40, 50 kids at least at every race.
Probably
not that
around
25, 30?
Yeah, 25, 30.
Okay.
Probably around 25, 30 kids at every one of the races. The kids love them.
Yeah.
I mean, they love them and stuff. And that's something with him. He's like, hey, can we get into Camp Wyman for Greensville? I'm like, no, this is a private park. I was like, he's like, we got to find out. And I was like, okay. So we found out. And then I found out that I've got to carry another whole insurance on that, because I'm doing insurance for there and then also for St. Louis County for Greensfelder. And I was like, all right, if it's going to be worth it, let's do it.
Camp Wyman that made that race though, by having it, being able to finish the bottom of the hill.
Also, at the bottom end for parking.
Yeah, big
and
open
everything worked out
spaces.
really well.
And
So,
Jason Rose at Camp Wyman, awesome. He just like,
Yes.
come in, what do you want to do?
yes.
I'm like, I'm going to help you make this happen. And
Yep.
he brought his family and hung out for the day,
Nice.
swam in the pool.
They
She had a good time. They were
blast out there.
super accommodating to us. It was
Mhm.
very nice, which helps us because we can be a little more free with our trail design
Yeah.
on the Camp Wyman property.
Right.
Did you get to see stage 6 last year? Coming in, because you had to jump
No.
through the archery range
No.
back into the area. You'd come down, jump off a wall, and go through the archery.
Oh,
range.
yeah.
So that was a totally unique stage using
Right.
also some of their trails. So part of what we do is use some of their old trails to help revitalize their trail.
Mhm.
We go in, we got our crew in there, and we're cutting back and fixing their trails up. So now they're there for their hiking purposes. We get them all cleared out for them.
Yeah, I constantly see videos at the Jeff Enduro. There's the Hollywood hit at the end, which has traditionally been the finish line. The first year it was pouring down rain the entire Chubb Enduro. So that's something to keep in mind too.
Where else do you get to land into a big old pool of water
Yeah.
at a race and be fine?
Yeah, the Chubb, because it's in springtime. So I think people, maybe if they're planning to do a race or something, they're a little bit worried about weather. Chubb, you do not have to worry about weather at all. It was
Nope.
pouring down rain the first year. If you do Ironton and the BME, it was pouring down rain last year. All through practice. I think it dried up during the actual race. It stopped raining, but they were able to go through that. Greensfelder is one of the faster, drying trails in the area now. It might be, I don't know what your course looks like, it might be harder, but it would take a lot of rain.
That's what's so cool about Jeff here is because he already has
A plan for that.
a wet course map and a dry course map.
Genius.
We already have that now. Not going to say that it's still going to be 8 stages, but you're going to have at least 6 stages for sure. So that's what's so cool about him is that he's like, hey, I've got already planned out. If it does rain, we can do this at Greensfelder, and we'll just have to change things over. I was like, perfect.
Smart.
And then you asked earlier about what it takes to set these up. That's part of what Greensfelder specifically. We look at it. Okay, if it rains, the stages are what we can use in the rain. That's what we're looking for, trails that can withstand the rain. We're not going to go use the new trails that are being built because we'll tear them up.
Sure.
That's not going to work. So I'm always looking for the ones that can withstand the rain. And then the transition might have to change on rain day because there's plenty of double track out there to get around through the middle of the park to get to where you need to go and road. But if it rains, then we stay off the single track. So it works out really well out there. And there are plenty of trails at Greensville that can handle rain, especially in the springtime. Not right now. Everything is
sure. Yeah, freeze-thaw is different.
Yeah.
Right.
I only had one muddy bike coming to my shop today. It was kids' bikes. So it wasn't super muddy, but and I think that's another cool thing about this series is that people can kind of anticipate that because we see that a lot here in the Midwest. Races tend to happen, in the fall or in the spring, and a lot of times they're getting moved around because of rain and cancellations. I mean, I feel like there was a couple year span where every race got rescheduled. But that's the cool thing about the Enduro Series. It is something that people can count on. And then you guys have, plans and contingencies to make sure that no matter what, if you rented an Airbnb and you got plans to come down and you took time off work, you're still going to get to come down here and have a good time. And, if it's raining, it's going to be more fun.
Yeah, exactly.
It's weather to an extent. I mean, we're obviously not going to put the racers' safety and livelihood at risk, but little water's not going to hurt anybody.
No.
And we'll fix it afterwards.
So I mean, this is something you have to work on all year then. I mean, you're constantly thinking every time you're out riding, and I've always seen you on the podium at races, the last 5 years since I've had the shop and been showing up to them. So, you're very fast on a bike. You know how to race. You know how to win. You know what it takes to kind of do that. So I guess you're just looking at all time. Every time you ride your bike, there's nonstop seeing flags going everywhere. Yeah,
I'm looking for my fastest wave. I'm looking for mainly how am I going to get my youngest, most beginner racer down this section, through this section. To am I going to make sure that the pros are being completely challenged, that they're not bored. And all the time, always looking for something new. And because you go to different races, different places, different locations, and think, oh, wow, that was really awesome. So, for example, Kohler Enduro, there was a stage called the Waterfall Stage. that was the favorite stage. It was the shortest one there, but they took us down a ravine. We have to jump off a waterfall. It was everybody's favorite. Everybody yakking about it. So we came right back up here. It's like, where can we do that? Up here. And guess what? The Chubb Hollywood hit came about through that. So we saw that, and we're lucky that a vet out there at Chubb is very good to work with also. She's like, yeah, what do you want to do? Show me what you want to do. Let's see what we can work out.
I see people going out there all the time with their kids, or just, I mean, people go and ride Chubb who never would have rode Chubb before. They'll go out there and they always post videos of the Hollywood hit at the end, because it is right by the parking lot. It is kind of maybe for people who are kind of scared to kind of get to some drops and take risks. It is close to the parking lot, so I think that helps people feel more secure trying that kind of stuff out. And that's a cool thing about, like, with these enduros is, you know, if you are doing your first mountain bike race, or if you're nervous to kind of get involved with the racing and all that, with these staged races, you have that opportunity to do your stage, come back to headquarters, kind of see everybody, regather yourself. Or, you know, if maybe you get through 5 stages and you can't do the other 2 and that's all you got in you, it's cool. You still got to have the whole, you probably still raced for 3 hours and had a great time, and you can kind of stop. I think when you do a traditional mountain bike race, you know, you kind of feel like you're on that course and you just got to go. I think that's, enduro is just so awesome for people who maybe don't have any inclination to race or never have raced. It's just a really easy kind of push in, and everybody's chilled out. Like, you know, nobody's like being super intense, especially on like practice days. So that kind of helps to vibe all the mountain bikers around to kind of show you and help you, and, you know, do all those type of things, as it is just a really relaxed atmosphere.
Right. I mean,
because
what
of this
better way than get to hang out with your friends who also like to ride bikes too is go do a enduro race, and you go do a stage or to practices, and you get done with that stage and you guys can stop, group up again and talk about it. Oh, did you take this line? Did you do this line, or whatever? Or even follow your friend down on practice, but on race day, you're spread out a little bit more. So if someone were to wreck, so they're not running over them or whatever it may be. But after they get done at practice, I mean, even during the race, they're constantly talking about what they did or how they hit a certain line or whatever it may be, you know.
So that makes me think about, since you'll be there with all your buddies, if you do hurt your bike out there, what are the rules as far as, you know, if people are out there, they have to, is it you start with the equipment you have and you got to race that? If you break a wheel, if you bust something off, even if you've got that in your car or your truck, you can't use it. It's what's on you. A tube maybe, or do you, a tube or something like that would be the only thing, or do you need it on your person?
You got to have it on your person, or one of your friends has to have it.
Okay.
You can't leave the liaison stage or transfer stage to go back to your vehicle to get a new pedal or a new crank or new chain ring or cassette or something like that, or even a derailleur or something. You got to have it on your person, or fix it to where you can ride it single speed.
Right. And then now, is that just for the rest of that stage, or that's the rest of the race?
That I'm not going to go into that, because BME kind of has some guidelines, and I'm not too sure about what their guidelines are. And I don't want to speak, because yes, BME is part of the Missouri Enduro Series, is part of the Shepherd Mountain Enduro. Right. And I don't want to speak out of turn when people think that they could do that at Shepherd Mountain. And I
can help with that.
Can you?
Yeah, I can help with that. Every racer has to be self-sufficient.
Right.
On course, you got to be out there and take care of everything you need to take care of. You can't accept help from other racers. Other racers can help each other, but you are not supposed to go back to your vehicle. Some races have neutral support, so they may have that bike shop that's available. You come through that area and you're allowed to then get some help from them. That's completely up to the race course director.
Right.
Now, I can tell you,
or the bike shop's insurance company.
I'm sorry?
Or the bike shop's insurance company.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Because my insurance company says we're not allowed to work on bikes during races. Before and after, yes, but not during.
Not during a race.
Yeah, which is very weird.
That's good to know. I learned something new here. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's always up to the course director too. You can still come to them and talk to them about the whole situation, because they can do that with Matt, and I know that they do that with BME also. There's always extenuating circumstances that you may need to discuss.
Right.
But yeah, that is general. The general rule is once you're out on course, you're expected to be able to take care of everything, and hopefully, a lot of race courses will have aid stations for first aid and for drinks and food, so you can pick up something while you're out there. Because some races are real tight and close, like Chubb.
Mhm.
Chubb is real tight where we don't go
Yeah.
very far. Greensfelder, it's a long part north to south, and you're going to be going a long way because you're pretty much from one end to the other. We don't take you all the way down to Six Flags, not this year.
Right.
This year,
There's a
I
good
do
hint.
have stages in my back pocket, but then you go to Ironton,
So
and it's a big mountain. That's a big mountain, and this year we're using the whole mountain.
So the
You'll
big
find out
tip
about that
for
later.
Greensfelder, if people, because we're 35 minutes in. So if people made it to 35 minutes in, they at least get the tip that
Yep.
DeClue is probably not part of the Missouri Enduro Series this year if you're practicing.
That's right.
Correct. We will not be crossing roads. Crossing the road?
Okay.
Well,
Didn't say we wouldn't use the road. We won't cross them.
Yeah, we're not going to cross the road.
So yep, so I think those who know can eliminate a few other trails from that list.
Sure.
So that's cool.
This year.
That's interesting. Last year, did you guys do the stairway, the
Yes.
spiral staircase of death?
Yes.
Yes.
Very cool.
They climbed the Pawnee Trail all the way up to the Otis Brown parking lot and then took Allenton around to Melrose
Yep.
and walked their bikes in.
Walk their
So
bikes in from there.
That's really cool.
good stuff.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I was so glad that because the Chubb Enduro, was that the first Missouri Enduro race in
Yes.
2020? So the series started not that long ago, and it's pretty amazing what you guys have been able to do with it since in such a short amount of time. But yeah, that was about a week before COVID shut everything down. So
Yes.
Yes.
Literally a week.
yeah,
Literally a week. Because the next week, everything.
Yeah, it was our last party.
We got so lucky to pull that off.
Yeah.
You were exactly right.
And then everybody
And it
was
rained.
so hyped about it, and then poof, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that was cool. I think, it was such an amazing event. It was a lot of fun. The weather was terrible, but everybody still had a great time. It was really, it was a lot of fun. And then everybody kind of got a little bit of a break until the last season took off for the Missouri Enduro Series. And then it picked up right where it left off. I know I was really concerned. I was like, gosh, like everybody has such like cool memories of, the inaugural Chubb Enduro. I was like, it's just going to be a letdown this year. And then Chubb Enduro came up last year because that was the first race last year.
Yes, it was.
Yep. And it picked up right where it left off, minus the rain.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had great conditions that day. We had great conditions.
Oh, it was such a fun race again. And Greensfelder the same way. I mean, just kind of the party never stopped. BME, same thing, was a whole lot of fun, a little bit different atmosphere there, with some national companies there and stuff. So it was fun to see at a race. But and then, like I said, I was able to make the last one, but from what I hear, it was pretty awesome. And I think the urban stage is really the part that I think is something unique that you're really not going to experience anything, because I've seen videos. You're not going to experience anything like that in a mountain bike race or any bike race in the Midwest.
No.
Or in at least these
And,
parts.
I mean, I wish I could say I could pull off an urban stage for every one of my races, but then again, no, I don't want to. I want St. Gnarls to be the only one that has an urban stage as of right now, unless something else comes up in the future. That's the only one that has an urban stage. And you have to come out there to do. If you want to do it, you got to come out there to do that. To do that stage there.
Yeah, and you've got all kinds of fun stuff. So you don't only do the Missouri Enduro Series. That's obviously, the thing we all get most excited about. And it's kind of packaged together, so it's easy to talk about. But you've also got like Zombieland, which is a night race here at Bluffview, a couple miles up the road.
Zombieland, Funduro, night race and Funduro. And then with the new stuff that they built out there just at the end of the fall or end of the winter this year before the weather snapped. I hope to be using more of those trails and jump lines out there for some more cool stuff for Zombieland and Funduro.
Nice, yeah, and that's a cool thing if people are kind of coming in. There is 3 parks all within about 4 miles of each other here in the Eureka Wildwood area. Greensfelder, Bluffview, and Chubb. Bluffview, they just built a bunch of downhill trails. You got a little pump track there. It's really awesome. Yes. So if you are bringing family, really cool trails that brand noobs can jump on and flow down and have a good time.
We had the Funduro during the day, and then after it finished, we had the kids pump track race.
Oh, yeah.
And then after the kids pump track race finished up, then we ended up having the night race going into the evening
Mhm.
time, and it was an all-day event, an
Mhm.
all-night event, and
Yeah.
everybody had a blast.
Yeah.
There was something for everyone to do there, even the kids, and we even had a costume contest. So seeing the kids dressed up in costumes and the adults,
Nice.
so much fun, so much fun. So it was
Yeah,
really
and then you've got like the Wolf Creek race. That's a 24-hour race.
Wolf Creek is a 6-hour, 12-hour, and 24-hour
Yeah.
race. And then that's down in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. So that's a little bit of a drive, but I think that is a great venue and a great course to host a 24-hour race at. When I started promoting races, I've always wanted to host a 24-hour race. And there was another park that a 6-hour and 12-hour was held at. And to do a 24-hour out there is just not you would literally be destroyed.
Okay.
There's just no way. So that's why I kind of moved it down to Wolf Creek to start having it down there in Poplar Bluff.
Sure.
And then I also have the Ozark One-Eyed Dog 12, 24, 50, and 100-mile race, which it is the only 100-mile race in Missouri with 100% single track.
Okay.
So
Really?
yes.
I haven't done that.
Yes, 100% single track. 100 miles, 100%
And I kind of bring that up because, while the Missouri Enduro Series may only be coming into its second season, don't want people to think by any means this isn't. You are a very good race promoter. You put on excellent events. They're timed, they're accurate, they're staffing at all of them. It's a legit operation.
Correct.
It's not,
Show up when we start you off with a
you're putting on races.
In the old days, it was a poster board.
Yeah.
Road on you went by.
But you're putting on races all year long, a variety of different races, a lot of really cool, fun events. So, people can expect that same atmosphere and professionalism throughout the Missouri Enduro Series. And then that's why with the Shepherd Mountain Enduro is, and Big Mountain Enduro, that's why there's that combination there. If this wasn't a legitimate series, then BME would not want, the race part of it as well. So
I am very fortunate because I am the only other enduro series that gets to be a part of BME. There really isn't one elsewhere that they've even asked, hey, we hear you're doing an enduro series out there. You want to be a part of it? No, it's not. I'm very, very fortunate for that. And
some good respect between MES or LOKI and BME right there.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I think it's neat, that, especially with being in Missouri, I think, it is a lot of people that don't live here don't realize the kind of riding that we do have. So I think it's really cool that, BME and Dave Elkin kind of really, recognize what we have going on here in Missouri and then kind of bought into that a little bit. So yeah, that's really huge and really awesome that they do that, because that's a huge national race. I know here in Missouri, BME may not be that big of a deal to a lot of different people, but if you go out west, that is the race series. Everybody, you don't even have to race mountain bikes to know about BME. So really big deal, and it just kind of, again, shows that kind of professionalism that the series has, and that the whole series is worth it. BME was great, and I haven't even walked all those trails up there yet. But even when you're looking at Greensfelder and looking at Chubb, those are legitimate enduros as well. They're, sick courses and a ton of fun. So it's not like, oh, well, I'm not going to do BME, so I don't care about the rest of the series. Like, each one of these races is insane fun no matter what. Like, you're missing out if you're missing any of them.
Yeah. And we've talked about BME is going to be part of our four race series this year. So it is included. And there are 3 new stages at BME at Ironton this year. So
Okay.
It's not the same as last year. There's 3 brand new ones.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm super stoked. I wish it's almost March. What are we, a day or two before March? I don't know if we're in a leap year or not.
March 27th is coming up real fast. Things will dry up around here.
Yeah. We do. Well, anything else people should know about the race, or any hints? Or maps get released if you sign up for the race. They get released the day before.
No, the Wednesday before.
The Wednesday before.
And then the course is not marked until Friday night, and you come out Saturday to ride it. Are you able to ride it on Thursday and Friday? Yes, but the courses won't be marked until Saturday morning.
Nice.
So
We'll be done Saturday morning.
they'll be done Saturday morning. So that's whenever it is. But yeah, they'll be emailed to them through Bike Reg if they sign up on the Wednesday before the event. The St. Gnarls, we did release the map a little bit sooner due to the daylight savings time and people not being able to ride in the evenings after work. So it gave them 2.5 weeks before the event to get out there and pre-ride it. And if there was nice days or they could get off work early, then so be,
But we didn't have the whole course taped for them. They just had
we showed them where the start was and where the finish was.
Is it earlier this year?
St. Gnarls is going to be in June.
June 5th.
Okay, yeah.
It's going to be in June.
Cool, and that's kind of key too.
Because
If anybody's
the
coming
finale-
in town, it's not like somebody's gonna be practicing it for weeks and weeks.
Correct.
It's gonna be the week before, a couple days before.
This should be the Wednesday before.
Yeah, the Wednesday before.
Mhm. Yes, it will be. And then the only other thing I'd like to bring up is that I am also working on something in Ironton myself called the Iron Spokes Bikes and Beer Festival. That'll be happening October 29th and 30th. It will have a road race, a gravel race, cross country race, and an enduro race, and a dirt crit and a road crit race, all in one weekend.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, and Ironton down there, again, if people haven't been down yet, if you live in St. Louis, I feel like everybody's been down there and knows about it. But there's Elephant Rocks and a ton of outdoor activities and beautiful parks and stuff. Again, if you're bringing friends or wanting to spend an extra day down there and explore around, it is a really beautiful part of the Ozarks.
Well, I thank you, Adam, very much for having us.
Appreciate it.
Fun.
It was fun. Maybe we'll touch base again after the Greensfelder Enduro before Chubb and see if we can't give some people some hints on what's coming up and maybe do a recap or something on Greensfelder. Keep people excited.
Love that. Thank
Sweet.
you.